Today's Patreon shout-out comes to you with thanks for Kerry Driver. 9 Fingers Keene versus Kess Dissident Mage. We've got a gate and some counter magic. We're going to need counter magic against this player, I imagine. They seem very keen to play me here, so yeah, I think we've got some mixed match of power levels, but we'll try it. Just getting into another land, so play the Dragon Gate. A gamble from Kess. And to that they discard an Is It Charm. Likely tutored up the Sol Ring, playing that down to 3 cards in hand. I will hold up the Arcane Denial here, just playing Island and pass. Drew into a Rampaging Baloths, by the way. That is a windfall from our opponent. They are at 2 cards in hand, so might as well try the Arcane Denial. If they can counter this, then so be it. Alright, managing to counter that, so we might have slowed them down nicely, although they will draw 2 cards to the Arcane Denial. We draw 1 here at the beginning of the upkeep as well. And that draws us into a District Guide, which we could play this turn. Draw into a Swamp, so yeah, just play the Swamp here, I think. District Guide lets us search up a Gate. So I think we're fine just going for Dimir Guild Gate here. Running low on both blue and black mana. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer into play without dash. 3 cards in hand. There's a familiar ground. Each creature can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So maybe just holding up Teleria West. Yeah, let's go Dimir Guild Gate. We can hold up Teleria West and Fierce Guardianship. Going to hold back the District Guide for blocking the Ragavan. Kess Dissident Mage for our opponent. Can't use the Fierce Guardianship on that, unfortunately. And then Is It Charm being flashed back in order to shock that thing. And trying to get some card advantage with the Ragavan here. Yeah, we're not going to do anything this game, so I'll just go for the Fierce Guardianship now. Managing to hold our opponent off with the Ragavan once again. And now drawing into a Muldrotha, so let's play out the 9 Fingers while our opponent is likely shields down. 9 Fingers successfully hitting the battlefield, so yeah, I think we just pass at that. Recasting the Windfall once again, not in love with the cards in hand, so that's fine, nothing we can do about it anyway. Does refill their hand to 6, unfortunately. Wow, we actually don't have any lands there. Arcane Signet, they go down to 4 cards. And a Mana Crypt. Following that up with an Imperial Seal. Okay, an Uvenwald Hydra. Yeah, we could go Nature's Law and Pier's Whim this turn, I suppose. Let's see what happens when we swing in with the 9 Fingers. They could double block us here. Haven't played a land yet, so they might assume that we're just going to drop a land and replay our commander again. Just letting us straight through. So that triggers the 9 Fingers Keene, and hopefully we have 1 land on top, 1 gate. That is the Baldur's Gate. So bringing that into play untapped, luckily. Nature's Law can bring in an untapped land. Just play out a Tropical Island, then we can play the Amulet of Vigour. Amulet of Vigour will have our tapped things coming untapped. And then Pier's Whim will have our opponent sacrifice likely the Arcane Signet. And we get to search for a land, so don't think it really matters what we go for here. We'll just take the Basilisk Gate, I think, so we can buff our commander. Make it more difficult for our opponent to block. Does become untapped thanks to the Amulet of Vigour, which doesn't particularly matter. They sacrifice the Mana Crypt as opposed to the Arcane Signet. Attacking us with Kess in the air, that is a 3-4. And there we go, there's the Ad Nauseam, so likely, well, maybe comboing off this turn. They've got double blue and a black held up, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had Thorical combo. You see a Demonic Consultation, so yeah, it's one way to end a game, I suppose. They're down to 13 life, so they might not be able to get it. Stopping at Muddle the Mixture. Then playing a Gitaxian Probe, taking them down to 9. Playing a land as well. Oh, they had the Oracle in hand, so yep, there you go. For anyone who doesn't know, the Thassa's Oracle, it's a CEDH combo, but for any of you that don't know, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So basically you play Thassa's Oracle and then you exile your entire library with the Demonic Consultation. So you hold priority with Thassa on the stack, exile your library with Demonic Consultation, Thassa resolves, and you win the game. It's, yeah, the most devastating combo and easy to pull off combo in all the format. So our opponent wins there, we will try another one. Up against Heliod Sun Crowned this time. pretty bad hand. We'll try a mulligan. Alright, back into fast mana again. We will keep that one and get rid of the Gate Colossus. We are on the draw as well, so we go back up to 7 during our turn. Opponent plays out a Strip Mine, so might see a turn 1 Strip Mine. Yeah, I mean, we could get screwed here. I mean, it's a tap land, it's a gate. They might want to blow it up and try and mess our colours up, but play that out anyway. See how try hard they want to be. Okay, they've kept a 1 lander, and it was a Strip Mine, so they don't have their colours. Anyway, let's go for Urborg, Sol Ring, and we'll play the Tireless Provisioner while we've got the extra mana. Okay, seems as though we're playing against the same opponent again, so hopefully they don't keep a crap hand this time. Yeah, Nature's Law, Negate. I don't see as though we're going to do much of anything, but apparently if we start doing stuff, our opponents are going to scoop, so we'll just play that bad hand. Stupid that you have to play Magic Online like that. Enlightened Shooter, our opponent, already off to a better start. And there's the Mana Crypt, that's why I kept the Nature's Claim. We draw into a Maze's End. Unfortunately, they'll get down their Heliod before we can do anything about the Mana Crypt. Alright, apparently not. That is Keeper of the Accord. So we'll just blow up the Mana Crypt right now. They're down to 3 cards in hand. They'll potentially get lands out of the Keeper of the Accord. But, yeah, not necessarily anytime soon. Depends how they play it. Draw into Tatyova. Play the Gateway Plaza in tapped. And we do have to pay into that, so do that here. Argument to be made for us hold it up, the negate there, but yeah, I'm not sure our opponent will stick around if we negate something that's imperative to them being able to do something in the early game. Getting down the 3rd land anyway, Makokoro. So seeing Heliod the Sun Crowned. And swinging in at us for 3. We draw into Plaza of Harmony. So best getting down the Basilisk Gate first, then that can come in untapped. And we're still not doing much of anything. So just hold up then a gate here and hope it's relevant. Seeing Hall of Heliod's Generosity, each player draws a card to the Makokoro. So that draws us into Muldrotha. They play Alseid of Life's Bounty, hitting us for 3 with the Soldier again. We draw into Memory Deluge. I think I'd rather get the 9 fingers out here. So let's go Plaza Harmony. We do gain 3 life. And down comes the 9 Fingers Keene. Our opponent not doing too well on the card draw front in typical mono white fashion, so hopefully that'll buy us some time. They get into that Strip Mine again. And a Pristine Talisman is going to be a good source of life gain for them every turn. So starting to dump plus counters on Keeper of the Accord, and then giving Keeper of the Accord lifelink with Heliod. Going for the Strip Mine. They are down at 2 cards in hand. They blow up our Plaza of Harmony. Not going to block, obviously, because we'll lose our commander. Heliod triggers again thanks to lifelink, and that goes on to the Alseid. Rhystic Study for us. We'll swing in with the 9 Fingers Keene, hitting our opponent for 4. That is... yeah, Baldur's Gate is probably good to grab now. We can only tap the Baldur's Gate for 2 mana as it stands now, unfortunately. Maybe getting down the Tatyova is a good idea at this point. Normally want to cast Tatyova once you've got a land to make, but I don't think our opponent's going to do anything about it here, so play out the Tatyova. And we do control more lands than our opponent now, so Keeper of the Accord does trigger. Not sure if they actually went after a land there though. They've got 5 lands, so maybe they did. Soul's Attendant is going to start dumping a lot of plus counters all over the place. And another Soul Sister, so really playing into a board wipe there. There's not much reason for them to play both Soul's Attendant and Auriok Champion. They would have had Devotion of 5 without the Soul's Attendant there. So if we can draw into a board wipe, we'll do pretty well. Everyone drawing again thanks to the Makokoro. So they're at 2 cards in hand. Swinging in for a massive heap of damage. So that's 6 commander, we go down to 19 life. And draw into a forest, so... yeah, let's see what we can do with 9 fingers first of all. We could have them lose the Soul's Attendant here. Yeah, which is probably a good idea. They can double block, they won't lose the Auriok Champion. But they will lose the Soul's Attendant because they have to double block if they're going to block at all. So deciding to throw away Soul's Attendant, that's fine. So let's play ourselves a Cultivate, try and draw as many cards as possible. Get the black land into play tapped. We'll put the island in our hand. Tatyova obviously going to gain us a life and draw. Alright, Field of the Dead, excellent, and it is active here, so drop the Field of the Dead, ready to make some chump blockers. And we managed to draw ourselves into the Sol Ring. Auriok Champion will trigger on every Field of the Dead activation, or trigger as well, which will trigger the Heliod. And Auriok Champion getting a lot of plus counters on it could be relevant with the protection from black. We drew into Sol Rings, so we could just play out Rhystic Study here, or we could hold up the Negate. I think I'd rather try and draw extra cards with Rhystic Study, because we are pretty eager for a board wipe here. Once again, we do control more lands than our opponents, so they did go for a basic there. Heliod's Intervention, going to blow up the Sol Ring and the Rhystic Study. They do pay into the tax. And Lifelink goes on to Keeper of the Accord once again. So we'll just take 4 damage as it stands now. They're still holding back a couple of blockers for our commander. So chump on the Heliod. And I think the counter went on to the Life's Bounty there, so a 4-4 and a 3-3 in the way. And that's another guild gate for us. Could get into some good life gain stuff with Villainous Wealth, and that could buy us even more time, so maybe that's the plan if we can't get into a board wipe. As of now, I think it's time to get down Muldrotha the Gravetide. So down that comes. Obviously we can play things from the bin with Muldrotha. So that triggers Auriok Champion, a plus counter going on something again. And as much as I'd like to grab the gate out of the graveyard here while we've got the chance, I think we just need to get as many zombies into play as possible for blocks. So play the fetch, triggers both Tatyova and Field, draw into Sylvan Library, crack the Verdant Catacombs. That's Heroic Intervention. We will play the Sol Ring out of the bin, and then probably just the Rhystic Study again, I think. Just hope that we don't regret not holding up the Negate. But yeah, we're getting in a pretty good spot for a decent Villainous Wealth here. Buying ourselves an okay amount of time. I think I'll swing in with the commander and try and get rid of this thing, because it's going to be one of the few chances that we've got to actually get rid of that, I think. And they decide to let that through. I thought they might do that, so we get a Simic Guildgate, which will be more lifelink for us, or another life for us. It'll be more landfall. We draw into a District Guide, and Keeper of the Accord triggering, so they'll start getting soldier tokens now. All the while triggering the Auriok Champion. Really glad that I got rid of the Soul's Attendant when I did. Discard Sylvan Library and a couple of lands to hand size there. And now I Forsake the Worldly, exile an artifact or enchantment, and that is onto the Rhystic Study, so can't play that out again, but it's a fine target. I wasn't expecting to draw a whole lot of cards from that anyway. The 7-7 swinging in towards us, which we can only block with the Tatyova, and then we can chump block the Heliod. So yeah, I think I'm okay just taking the 7 here. We'll hold on to Tatyova as long as possible. Still at 2 cards in hand over there, although they've got the Makokoro held up. That is an Uvenwald Hydra, which can block the Auriok Champion. We'll play the Plaza of Harmony while we've still got Muldrotha in play. That'll gain us some more life as well. 3 from the Plaza Harmony, and then 1 from the Tatyova. It's a Beast Within for us. Could use that as a combat trick, so if they double block the 9 fingers, we could blow up one of their blockers and get a 2-for-1 maybe. Doesn't mean that our 9 fingers gets through, but we could 2-for-1 them still. I think I'm going to carry on trying to generate as much mana as possible for the Villainous Wealth, so I'll get down the Uvenwald Hydra here. Currently a 10-10, it's about to be bigger than that though. Just grab the Sea Gate here, don't think it particularly matters. None of the gates are particularly noteworthy at this point. Alright, drawing 2 Vorak Battlehorns, which means our commander's going to be unblockable thanks to the Menace. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, but has to be blocked by more than 2, so it contradicts itself and makes our commander unblockable. Baldur's Gate now taps for 5 as well, so we'll do that. Oh, actually, taps for only 4 mana. Play the Battlehorns, equip those to 9 fingers, and we'll hold up Negate, Heroic Intervention, and the Beast Within here during our opponent's turn. Can't hold up the Memory Deluge, unfortunately. So swing in with the 9 fingers. They could easily Swords or Path here and pay the ward 9 life because they're at 60 life. Commander damage might become relevant though, because they're up to 12 here. Triggers the 9 Fingers Keene. Do not reveal a gate, annoyingly. I think the Beast Within is best going on to the Auriok champion at this point. I'll wait through my opponent's turn. I don't think a few more bits of life is going to really do much damage. We'll actually switch off the Heliod if we blow that up as well, so it's 2 birds with 1 stone, I think. Having us draw with Makokoro as well. A Rite of Replication onto the Auriok champion might actually be very useful to us. So do we want to hold off another turn? We'll see how big that thing gets, because we can currently block with the Overmauled Hydra. Let's just get rid of District Guide and the Memory Deluge here, I think. And Inventor's Fair, they do not have Metal Crafts, so not going to be gaining the life on that. Sacrificing the Alseid of Life's Bounty. Might still take the damage so that we can make copies of the Auriok champion though. We'll want 9 mana from this, and then 12 mana Beast Within next turn, which we can afford as it stands now. Might be able to get another spell out of their hand here as well. So Auriok champion currently has protection from green thanks to the Alseid of Life's Bounty, so couldn't block with the Overmauled Hydra even if we wanted to, but I think we're going to let this through regardless. Make it look like we don't have anything at the very least. And that is an excellent one. Always got to watch out for this nowadays when you're playing against white. Held up negate at just the right time. Certainly don't want to see a farewell, especially with a Muldrotha in play. So we'll definitely negate that one. Still 2 cards in hand for them. And then a Guardian of Faith. So they could phase out the Soul Sister. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Nothing we can do about it now anyway. Does animate the Heliod again. Not really sure why they're playing that now. It's got flash, so they can play that whenever. They could have done it in response to a Beast Within, and they might wish they'd held on to that. So they are phasing out the Anok, which does take us off our Rite of Replication plan, but we've still got Overmauled Hydra that we can target with that instead. Noteworthy that when it phases out it deanimates the Heliod, but that will come back into play again in a minute. Oh, it's at the beginning of... I always forget that with phasing out. Only phases back in during the beginning of their next turn. Okay, and then decided to scoop there. It was just about to get interesting, so that's a shame. Yeah, so we were going to draw into Icy Tyrant of Gaia Strait. Likely was not going to play that. Rite of Replication onto Overmauled Hydra would have been 5 copies of this, which would have been 5 lands, all of which would have been... Yeah, I think they all could have been Guild Gates. Maybe would have had to play a Guild Gate this turn, ready to set up Maze's End next turn. So, looks like we had them a few different ways. Definitely had an answer to the Auriok champion. Not that our opponent knew that. They could have kept trying to push through the Overmauled Hydra by gaining life and dumping plus counters on this thing. But we were about to get a bunch of copies of that anyway, so likely would have seen the scoop after that. If you want to see more from 9 Fingers Keene, then be sure to let me know. I will certainly try and get a multiplayer game with it. Didn't know when I was going to get a chance to do that, so just decided to jump into the 1v1 room. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.